Hi, this is Alex Hancock, and I am doing my book report for my Entrepreneurship I class. The book I read was called The Firestarter Sessions by Danielle Laporte. Laporte is an entrepreneur, a business strategist, a life coach. She's taken on many professions and many different roles to find what she truly loves, and you learn a lot more about her past experiences through personal accounts of successes and failures in her business ventures throughout the book. First, a little bit of structure. The book is laid out a little bit different than your typical business book. It's separated into sessions instead of chapters. They go nicely in order, but you could read them in any order you wanted. Each session is accompanied by a worksheet that deals with the topic material that was talked about in that session and makes you reflect on it and think of it in your own experiences and your own terms. Along with the worksheets, the book is accompanied by lots of quotes from outside sources, as well as her personal experiences and the accounts of others that she has worked with. All in all, it's a really cool layout, and it's easy to read. It's not monotonous and boring, and the sessions are short enough that you can sit down and do one or two right before bed or whenever you have a few spare moments. Usually people are really busy today, so it's really nice to have a book that lays things out quick and easy where you can take it in your own time but still get a lot out of it. So going into the content of the book, some of my favorite sessions that came from this book were one of the very first ones called Work Your Passion. It was a really cool chapter for me to read in this point in my life because I'm at that stage. I'm a junior in college. Definitely started to think about careers more seriously and what I want to do, why do I want to do them, trying to differentiate work and passions, and can you combine them? She says absolutely you can. And there's quotes from it called there's duty and there's passion, and you can't fake passion. There's even sections all the way down to a word on life's purpose. And you can see one of the big pull-out quotes there. There's a lot of them like that. Again, just making this book quick and easy to read. Some of my other favorite sessions were the ones dealing with fear and conquering them, and one of the worksheets had you write them out. Write out your biggest failures and combat them with your biggest successes. And she's very blunt in her writing style and says, if you're not ready to relive your biggest mess-ups yet, then don't do it. Just think of smaller ones. So obviously it's a self-regulated book. You can do and not do whatever you please. But these worksheets really prompted me to ask a lot of questions that I'd never thought of asking myself before, and it really did help me start to work out a definition of what I love and what I want to do. This is an example of one of the worksheets. So those are at the end of every session. Some of them are multiple pages long. There's usually a little space that you can write directly in the book. Some of them she says, okay, now that you're done, rip this page out and burn it. And my mild OCD would never let me rip a page out of a book. But if that's your thing, you can go for it. One of my other favorite sessions was the visioneering. That one focused on breaking down your dreams into smaller, very compact sections and finding out which parts of those really matter and which parts of them are for you and which are for others. And visualizing reality and what is accomplishable. Overall general thoughts on this book. She has a very, as I mentioned, a very blunt, somewhat in-your-face writing style. The book is moderately laced with profanity. Nothing terrible, but there's some swear words in it. She writes as if she's speaking to you. She tells about her failures openly, and it's a sign of how she has come to accept them and embrace them. The book itself is the visual aesthetic of it is very nice. Being that my other major is graphic design, I enjoyed a lot of the big pull-out quotes with the blocky fonts. Once again, it makes for that easy read. I highlighted all over this book, pulling out a lot of my favorite quotes. Some of them are, can you remember who you were before the world told you who you should be? That one I really liked. When you start to get further into college, you kind of start, well, this is what I'm majoring in, this is what I am, and she says, be what you want to be and do what you love. And then there's other ones on how you have to conquer fear before it becomes an attitude and not an emotion. Finally, this book does require work. Obviously, you don't have to do the worksheets, but you really get a lot out of it if you take the time at the end and write down what she's asking you to write down and really reflect on the things that she suggests on reflecting. There's some questions that I couldn't answer yet. I really didn't know, and I just said I have to think on this, and I'll continue to think on it. And she mentions in her book that that's completely okay, and if you're not ready to face any of these questions yet, by no means do you have to. It is just a book. But if you do put the work into reading this book and go along and do the worksheets and highlight things and pull things out and leave sticky notes on mirrors and computers like she suggests to do in some of the sessions, you really can get a lot out of it, and I thoroughly enjoyed the Firestarter sessions. Thank you.